Hello everyone, this is Kamil from the pack of Madmen, and in this video I would like to show you how to rush efficiently and avoid the most common mistakes. I've been rushing over 10 times a week for the past several seasons, and my current results are around 6 minutes 40-50 seconds. On an average, my best time is 5 minutes 26 seconds, which is not the best possible, but I wasn't lucky enough to get a perfect map. Note that I will mostly focus on rushing, not on all the map rules and how to navigate the map in all locations. I would like to show you mostly how to find the correct areas while rushing, where to place the portals, and how to avoid the most common mistakes, and maybe some other tips that others sometimes just don't see. So let's start. I have a character here ready. Obviously, the first thing when rushing is selecting the build. Now the first thing you want is obviously 200 FCR, so faster cast rate, on a sorceress. My recommendation for skills are either Nova or Frozen Orb. Here I'm going to use a ridiculous build that utilizes both of these skills and is suited only for normal rushes, but I didn't have anything to do with this character, I didn't want to delete it. So obviously for rushing you don't really care about damage, you don't really care about surviving, you mostly care about area of effect. That is why Frozen Orb is, in my opinion, the best choice in here, because it can clear the entire screen. Nova is also great. It doesn't do damage on as big area as the Frozen Orb. However, it is far easier to create a build with 200 FCR that utilizes Nova and is capable of rushing easily on hell difficulty. Obviously other builds are also okay, but I will encourage you to using one of these two skills, because this will simply make everything easier. You won't need to run around and make sure there are no monsters around that could kill the rushed player. Normally I would invite some player to join the game with a level 1 character, but all my friends are currently busy, so I'll show everything by myself. So obviously the first thing when rushing, Catacombs 2nd level. Now here starts the first, what I like to call a map rule. Almost every single location in the game, in fact, has certain layout. In like some areas have a set layout, such as Travincal or 2nd level of sewers in the 3rd act. Other areas are completely random, and other areas, such as Catacombs level 2, always have a few rules that determine the way they generate. So in most cases these rules are as follows: turn somewhere or go straight. In this case we have Catacombs level 2. The map rule here is turn right from the waypoint. Now, it doesn't tell you exactly where the next level is gonna be. It tells you which way you want to face. So for example here, when I have this room, it faces that way. So when standing at the waypoint, I am looking that way. This means that if I turn right, I'll be going to the top left. And now, what does the thing that the map rule tells me is only that by facing top left, I am facing the same the same direction as the entrance to the next level. In most cases, this will actually allow you to find the next level very quickly. Sometimes, unfortunately, the map is very bad and you need to spend a bit more time. So now, since I know that the next level should be facing that way, in most cases I will just try going like this. So as you can see, after turning right, I am facing the same direction as the room that has the entrance to the next level. Sometimes it may happen that you need to explore a bit more. This time I got extremely lucky. This is one of the best layouts possible for this area, but I don't want to bore you for now. Here we have level 3 of Catacombs. This is completely random. Obviously, after a bit of playing, you will be able to distinguish the shapes of the rooms, which will make your rushing a little bit faster. However, that is not like very useful at the beginning. It will save you just a few seconds at best. So now, Catacombs level 4. Here is the quest, the final quest in the Act 1, which is killing Andy. Now I've seen players opening portals pretty much everywhere. In this location, I always open a portal right here. Now, why is that? Because when opening a portal, you care about two things. The first one is the safety of the rushed player, and the other one is how quickly can you go back to this portal. Now, for the player, the safest place is obviously here, but this is farther away from Andy, so you will need a few more teleports to get back, which is not very optimal. So obviously when the player joins, the character kills Andy and returns. I really like to use telekinesis to enter portals and use waypoints. I recommend that. However, it is not necessary. It will save you a few seconds, but it won't be as much as knowing the map rules and portal placements. Now at this point, there are actually two things that, like two approaches here. What I would suggest is you ignore Dry Hills and Halls of the Dead entirely and go straight to the Far Oasis. Now this is quite known strategy, however I would like to explain everything in detail. During the rush, the player will need the Heraldric Cube, however the rusher can just drop it, like this, anywhere. I usually drop it in the maggots lair, and then the rushed player can pick it up and you skip the Halls of the Dead entirely. Now, for Far Oasis, there's no map rule. Maggots lair is one of the most hated areas among me and my friends. What I would recommend is teleporting along the edges, but not like hugging the walls, but rather teleporting at such distance that you see the walls, but you're trying to stay as far away from them as possible. The problem with this area is that you want to observe both your minimap and the entire screen, because you never know how you can find the maggots lair faster. Sometimes it will appear on the minimap, and sometimes you will find it normally faster. In this case, okay, I got lucky, it is here. So obviously I enter, and now for the level 1 and 2 of Maggots lair, the map rule is exactly as with Andy, which is turn right. So I'm facing top left. After turning right, I will be facing top right. So I'm going to try to go into that direction. As you can see, this map wasn't as nice, but again, the next level is facing the same way as it should, according to the map rule, which is, as I said, top right. Now we repeat the same in the second level. Okay, and this was pretty good. Now in the third level, now this is the easiest one actually, because in this case the entrance and the final room are always the same. You always want to go straight like this, and you will find the and you will find the chest. So at this point, open a portal. I usually drop the horrific cube right here, mostly because I want to drop it after starting the rush, so that this like half a second, 1 second spent on dropping the cube is actually included in my rushing time. So obviously I go back to town, and now the player has the Staff of Kings. So now Lost City and Valley of Snakes. Here you just hug the walls and hope for the best. And the only thing that can help you is do not go to the bottom. So the entrance to the Valley of Snakes will never generate on the bottom, and that's it. Like straight bottom, like that. So let's find the let's just hug the walls. Okay, I'm at the bottom, so it's not gonna be here. Oh, and now here is the next, here on the left in this case, is the Valley of Snakes and Claw Viper Temple. In the Claw Viper Temple, I've noticed multiple different guides, each one saying something different. Now, there are multiple ways of explaining this, but the most, maybe not the most intuitive one, but the most precise one is gonna be this. Face in the direction where you can't go. So that in the Claw Viper Temple you can always go in 3 directions. So you want to look in the direction where you can't go, where the path is blocked, and then you want to turn right, so there. So in this case, you can't go top left, then you turn 90 degrees there, and you go top right. And this is the next level. This area is obviously always the same. I usually open a portal here and then clear the area while the next player is getting the Viper Amulet. On higher difficulties this is not gonna be as easy. Sometimes it's gonna be better to clear this area before opening the portal, but on normal you one-shot everything anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Now here, this is probably the most common mistake, which is made by over half of all rushers. Now, after getting the Amulet of the Viper, the rushed player will get the quest to talk to Drognan. And talking to Drognan is required to unlock the Arcane Sanctuary. So obviously the player will go and talk to Drognan. However, the most common mistake players make while rushing is entering Arcane Sanctuary. Why is this so bad? Because this, in most cases, it will bug Jerhyn. This will make the palace closed, and the player will not be able to enter the palace. And sometimes it won't be possible to talk to Jerhyn without going from the back, so to the palace cellar and teleporting back and so on. Now I've heard some players saying that even if Jerhyn is bugged, it is possible to talk to him no matter what, but so far all of these players were proven wrong, and they admitted that, yeah, you can't talk to him every single time. So in order to make sure that Jerhyn is not bugged, is to wait until the rushed player talks to Drogna. So what I usually do is stand right here, use telekinesis on the waypoint, and look at Kaylan. So the very moment I see Kaylan move, it means that the other player talked to Drogna, and that the palace and Arcane Sanctuary are open. This means that I can safely enter Arcane Sanctuary and don't worry about Jerhyn getting bugged. Now, obviously this might seem like it loses time, because you are waiting for another player to do something. However, there are two counter arguments to this theory. The first one is that if the rushed player knows what they're doing, they can actually talk to Drogna in the exact same time as you get to the waypoint. So you don't lose any time, and even if you do, you are waiting 1 or 2 seconds at worst, while unbugging Jerhyn and going to him from the behind would take you at least like 20 seconds. Okay, maybe not 20, but like 10 seconds. So it's simply faster to wait, because this way you will make sure that Jerhyn will not bug. So now we are in Arcane Sanctuary. There is no map rule in here. Everything is completely random. I've tried to find some rule to find the summoner quickly, but I couldn't. So the only thing I can recommend is going at the bottom like this, because at this point you should already see the platform with the summoner on your minimap. And if you don't see it, it means it's not. Okay, never mind. Yeah, at this point, like while standing right here, you should see it. And if you don't see it, you can just go like this and skip it completely. And now, why should you start from the bottom? Because now you can go here and teleport like this. Now, this is not always that useful. I usually don't do this because I'm lazy and I don't want to like complicate everything. For me, it does save a few seconds. I usually go to in here, top left, for no actual reason. Like, it's just a whimsy for me. So let's go back. Now here, obviously, open a portal and wait. Now this is probably the only bad thing I can actually say about Frozen Orb while rushing. Clearing it, like, you often need to clear monsters around here to make sure that the rushed player won't die. However, the Frozen Orb from this point can often kill the summoner, especially on normal, which is why I'm using Nova for this place in most cases. Or on other builds, some other skills. Once the player enters the portal, you obviously come and kill the summoner. At this point, now I was actually surprised to see that many players don't know this. At this point, you should already know what the symbol of the Talrasha's tomb is. If you read the Horizons journal, which I won't bore you with reading it, you will learn that these 6 symbols here are actually the symbols of the wrong, false Talrasha's tombs. So it will take you obviously some time to memorize all the symbols, And once you do that, you can just look at all of them and see that, and recognize in 1-2 seconds which symbol is missing. In this case, it's this one. I wrote it in chat. So I can already go forward, and at this point I can already teleport to that particular tomb without waiting for the rushed player's confirmation of what the symbol is. All tombs are always placed in the same locations. So the circle is always here, this thing is always here, and so on. The tomb that I got here is on the far right. Now, Talrash's tomb, here the rule is exactly the same as with snakes. Now I'm actually glad I got this room. This is probably the trickiest room ever, because most guides will tell you turn somewhere. Okay, so where should you turn? And now I've seen guides saying turn this way or that way, but it was confusing for me. It was really confusing for me. It took me a really long time to learn it. In the end, I just started looking at it myself, running tombs and Claw Viper Temple hundreds of times until I memorized it. So here the map rule is, again, you cannot go there, you cannot go to top left, so turn right, and now you're looking at top right, so you go there. And obviously it might take some time, and here it is. So here's the orifice. Just as I said, the map rule only tells you that you need to face that way, and you will face the same way as the next area. So it will happen sometimes that you will, for example, need to go here and like from this point there. It is possible. It happens quite often. However, it's obviously better to know the rule than going randomly. So here obviously you wait for the player to come, make the stuff, put it in the orifice. I usually take this time to yell at that player with battle orders to make sure that they don't die to Buggy. And for those of you who don't know, Buggy is a name I'm using with my friends for Duriel, because I mean he's a bug. At this point, now there's also another mechanic that most players miss. The quest does not tell you to kill Buggy. It tells you to explore the Tal Rasha's chamber, which means that if you enter and kill Buggy, kill Duriel before the rushed player enters, it doesn't do anything, because what that player has to do is run away here and talk to Tyriel. Oh, he's not here because I completed that quest. But the thing is, that player doesn't need to be here when Buggy dies. At this point, most players will know to go to talk to Tyriel. I always open a portal right here to go to town quickly. However, it is necessary that the rushed player talks to Tyriel instead of taking your portal back. That is something you either need to hope that the other player knows, or you need to explain to them. If you're not sure if the other player knows about this or not, you can go talk to Tyriel yourself. This will also give the quest completion to that player, and you won't need to worry about the player not talking to him. Now we're going to the Spider Forest, and Act 3 is one of the most the most hated act in the entire game. there are actually multiple ways of dealing with this act. There are multiple things to remember. Now, it is possible to skip Kalim's relics entirely and just go straight for Mephisto. The problem with that is it's actually, in 99% of cases, it's slower than collecting the relics. So what you want to do in the Spider Forest is you want to check two things, because this map is completely random except for some rules that usually apply. There's no thing like always go this way, but there are tricks that can help you find the spider cavern faster in like 70% of the time. The first thing you want to check is, after standing at the waypoint, do you see the town? Because if you see the town, it means, okay, if you see the town like right here, it means there is very little space between your current location and the town. So you can already know that if you see the town, you shouldn't go in that direction, because there's no spider cavern there, because there's simply no space for it. So what I like to do is, if I see the town, I go to the top right. If I don't see the town, I go in the direction of the town. And just as I said, the spider cavern is right here. So again, I didn't see the town from the waypoint, so I'm going in that direction, and I found the spider cavern. Now, another thing that usually applies is that spider cavern and the waypoint are usually, and I repeat, usually, not always, on the same side. So if the waypoint is like on the bottom right side of the river, then it means the spider cavern will almost always be on the same side. Now, this is not a fixed rule. This is something that happens most of the time, but not always. The easiest example of when it doesn't happen is like this, where the waypoint can be accessed from two sides. So here you can say that it's on the right side because it's above the river. So without saying anything further, you want to enter the spider cavern. Now this area is not fixed, but it has a few fixed layouts. After you remember them, it will be a little bit easier. What I would like you to remember is always teleport in the same direction. Like, always teleport at this exact angle, and you will find the chest. So the relative location between the chest and the entrance is always the same. Now we go to the flyer jungle. By itself, flyer jungle, there is no map rule, but there is one rule that connects flyer jungle and spider forest. Now the easiest explanation is that these two locations are alike. That means if I went to the spider forest and I saw that I have the waypoint and the spider cavern is below the waypoint, so in the direction of the town, it means that the same will be true for the flyer jungle. So now I don't care about what's on top. I care about going this way and here it is, the flyer dungeon. So if you were in the spider forest, went left and found the spider cavern, then in the flyer jungle you also want to go left. Now here in the flyer jungle, flyer dungeon, there are several fixed layouts. I personally just memorized them all until one of my friends, I don't remember which one, I'm sorry for that, noticed that there's a map rule here, just turn left. And yeah, he was right. So now, the corridor that's going out of the entrance is here. So going bottom right. After turning left, I will be facing top right, and this is where the next level is. Now here, second level, the same rule. So here, facing top left. After turning left, I will be facing bottom left, and I'm facing the same way as the next level. Now, in the flyer dungeon level 3, this area has several, I don't remember how many, several possible layouts. These layouts are always the same, you just need to memorize them. In this particular case, you need to go this way, so to the left. I will not explain all these layouts, it is best if you just memorize them by yourself. It will be just more natural and easier to remember if you learn by yourself. Next we have Kurast Bazaar and sewers. One more thing. In the flyer jungle and flyer dungeon, sometimes you will get to the flyer dungeon before the rushed player picks up the Kalim's eye. This means that sometimes you need to check the party screen or the chat to make sure that they got the Kalim's eye. I usually ask the players I'm rushing to write something in the chat. Doesn't matter what. If I see that they wrote anything, usually it's a plus or 1, etc., I know that they got the eye, that I can open a portal in the flyer dungeon. Now I go immediately to Kurast Bazaar, and here I need to find the sewers. How to find the sewers? They are. So if you look at the entire area, there are always 2 entrances to the sewers, and they are always in the same places. So they are in the half of this line of the Kurast Bazaar, and separated by, and they cut the Kurast Bazaar into 3 equal parts. One is here, another is here, and the final one is here. So usually when you get to the waypoint and you see that, oh, there are trees in here, there's no passage, this means I need to go this much to the top and then just find one of the entrances. Here, this is actually a good map. The next level is right here. If you don't see it, there is one more map rule that might prove useful, but it's not always that nice. So sometimes you will find the chest before you find the second level, and if you look at it from the chest, like assuming I start here, I face bottom left, and the next level is facing where? It's facing top left. So the map rule is turn right from the golden chest. This doesn't help you all the time, but sometimes it will make it easier for you, like to know where the next level should be. So here I usually tend to cast one frozen orb to make sure that nothing kills the player. Open portal, and now it's time for Travincal. And now note that the quest for killing Mephisto does not require you to be here where the council dies. You need to destroy the compelling orb, but you don't need to kill the council, which means that you can first kill the council, and at this point Horadric Cube and Kalim's flail will drop. So this is where you get your cube back. You open the portal, and the other player can come pick up the flail and finish the quest, destroy the compelling orb. At this point, you just go back to the waypoint and enter the Durance of Hate. Here, it's exactly as it was in the Flyer Dungeon. The entire Act 3 has the map rule turn left. So I'm facing bottom right. After turning left, I will be facing top right. Did I say it correctly? Did I say it correctly? I'm facing bottom right. After turning left, I face top right. So, just like this, I have the next level. Here, I always advise to make sure that these council members are either far away from this area, or that they are there, because the last thing you want them to do is summon Hydras right here. If they do summon Hydras here, then your rushed player is in danger. That is not what you want. Here you can open the portal. You can do it here, 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 here. I usually do it here because it's close to the port, to the entrance to the next act. So open the portal, kill this guy, and enter. Here, obviously, there are no map rules, nothing that would help you with Act 4. Here, the only thing that can actually save you some time is just learning where the where the super uniques actually spawn. They don't always spawn in the same places, but they will usually spawn where, like, once you learn where they spawn, you can predict like 60% of the time exactly where they are. This will make it faster to kill. Now, when opening a portal, my advice is to go here. This way the player can hide here and be immune to Diablo, or how I call him with my friend, or how we, the pack of Madmen, call him, Terry. By standing here, the player is not targeted by his skills, which makes it simply easier for you to kill him without fearing for the other player's well-being. And now, obviously, the final thing. I usually open a portal right here, so that I don't need to wait for the other player to come from the waypoint to here. When they come, obviously they need some time to enter the 5th act. Then just kill Shank. Now this is usually where normal rushes end, but if you want to rush on Nightmare Hell, you will usually need to fight Ancients and Baal. So here you go to the Ancient's Way. Here the map rule is probably the simplest out of all. Go straight. So the hardest part in the 5th act is to know where you are facing from the waypoint. This simply requires you to practice, to play a bit. Here in this case, like usually just go hug a wall. In this case we're going top left. This is where the waypoint is facing. Like you can see that there are like 2 ways you can go, but they both actually go top left. So here we just go straight, and just like this we have the area at summit. Open the portal. When the player joins, activate the altar, kill these guys, and you can enter the World Stone Keep. Now I usually just open another portal and go back. Usually it's okay to open it after ancients are dead. Sometimes it happened to me that even after they are dead, opening a portal resets them. So I usually tend to wait like 1 or 2 seconds to make sure that they are actually dead and I won't need to fight them again. Now we have World Stone Keep level 2. Here the map rule is to turn right. So I'm facing top right. After turning right I will be facing bottom right. So I'm going that way. And surprise, surprise, this is the next level. So this is just like the catacombs in the 1st act. And the World Stone Keep level 3, exactly as Catacombs level 3, there is no map rule, you just go randomly and hope for the best. I have no idea how I got so lucky with this map. This, now I'm gonna be completely honest, is one of the best maps I've ever seen, and obviously this is the first time in a long time when I'm actually here and not rushing. So obviously open a portal, kill the minions, kill Baal. I won't bore you with this. And now this is usually it. Sometimes you will get asked, or you can offer side quests, which is something I'd like to show you. It's not really it's not very common. Usually players won't ask for side quests. Like when I'm rushing, I'm getting asked for helping with Alia and other things like that, like 1 out of 20 rushes. But still I would like to show that because better to know it, but it's better to know the rule. Here we have Crystalline Passage. So now it looks like exactly like previously. So, killing potion. The waypoint is the same as it was with the Ancient's Way. However, here for Alia you want to turn right. So okay, and this is now an example of a not that nice map. Oh, here it is. So as you can see, by turning right you don't get anywhere, which is something I'd like to emphasize even more. By turn right, the turn right map rule doesn't mean the next level is on the right. It means that after facing that way, you will face the same way as the next level, or the area that you're looking for. So in this case, the turn right actually meant turn left, and then left again. This won't happen all the time, but it's something you just need to watch out for. Usually just going right and following the map rule literally will get you to the next level. If you notice that, okay, I've been trying to go there for a long time and there's no way of going in the right direction, this will most likely mean, okay, so I need to go like in a circle like this one. Frozen River. Frozen River has several layouts. It's like the flyer dungeon, so level 3. You just need to memorize all the layouts. There's no just no way of just knowing where's the next thing. A good rule of thumb here: go as far away as you can. So here, just go far, 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 far away. Oh, and normally Anya would be here. So just you want to go as far away as you can, because Anya will most likely be very, 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 very far. So obviously open a portal, let the player deal with everything. Now Rotwalkers are deadly for weak players. So, and because they can rise from the dead, I recommend staying there until the player frees Anya, so you can just go forward. Next we have Frosty, also known as Isual. There is no map rule, you just need to run around. I usually go for City of the Damned, and from there I teleport, but it's not really a necessity. Like, just as you can see, I don't even have the waypoint on this character. Next we have 3rd level. Here there's the quest Lamb Essence Tome, and the tome is always in Kurast Bazaar. And as you can see, there are 2 different temples, one there, one here. You want to find the ruined temple, and the way you find it is it will always face like this. It will always face this line, and as you can see, this is the ruined temple. The other one is the disguised fane, and it will always face like the horizontal line. So go to the ruined temple. There are several possible layouts. Just open a portal, kill everything that's here, and let the other player complete the quest. And next we have Radament, which, if I remember correctly, the map rule here was turn left. However, I haven't done this quest in a long time. Okay, yeah, just as I said. From the waypoint. No, so turn left from the waypoint, and again, as you can see, this time it was turn right, and then right again. If you want to go from the entrance, it will be always straight. And here for Radament, the same. Just turn left and you will find him eventually. Just like here. So again, the entrance was facing this way. After turning left, I face the same direction as Radament. And this is basically it for rushing. Now obviously another side quest that you can get asked for is the Den of Evil, which there's just no rule here, just follow the road out of the rogue encampment. And you can also be asked to save Cain. So teleport to Darkwood and just teleport around. Hopefully you'll find the tree quickly. Here, kill these guys, open the portal. And at this point you want to go to the Stony Field, and the best way to find the carrying stones and the and Rakanish went the portal to Tristram is find the road. What you want to do is you want to just okay, this wasn't a good example. You want to find the road because the stones are always okay, this is not a good example. The stones are always next to the road. Now here it might not look like it, but if you pay attention, this one stone is also counted as one of these. So this one, I mean, you can see both of them, both the road and the stone, while standing here. This means that it's close, and this is how you find the carving stone. Cairns. Okay, please don't laugh at my English. Stones. Now, this is all you want to know for all the details, all the mechanics you want to know for rushing. As I said, always, as I showed, always try to place the portals in such way that the player will be safe and you will be able to go back to the portal quickly. So for Andariel, where just as I showed, this is probably the most important portal placement. Oh, it's already level 4. So by opening a portal right here, you go here, and then you can just use two teleports, sometimes even just one, to get back to the portal. Also, other important things except for the map rules are Talrasha's tomb symbol, not bugging Jerhyn, so waiting for the player to talk to Drognan before entering Arcane Sanctuary. As I said, knowing the Talrasha's tomb symbol, and traveling out. Always try clearing the council before you before you open the portal. This will make things safer for you. Then I recommend tanking a bit, because the Hydras will stay there for a while, so just stand there, tank for the new player. You can tank the Hydras for like 2 seconds, and that's basically all you need. Another thing that I would recommend in Travincal is when you defeat the council, always check this area, because here there are very often you can find a monster pack, sometimes even elites. So I recommend checking here, because they can sometimes get to the player while the player is trying to destroy the orb. That's it for now. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope this will help your rushes be faster. Good luck, have a good day, bye.